Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video, and welcome back here to McLaren Toronto, where today I've come to check out the brand new McLaren GT. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to do a quick walk around the car, kind of talk about what it is, where it falls into the McLaren lineup, some of the features, technical specs, and then unfortunately it's locked right now, but I'm hoping maybe a little bit here we can maybe get it open so we can go through the inside as well. I'm going to talk about the interior stuff, but hopefully we can open it up, kind of get a full walk around, proper shots and everything. But yeah, that's where we are today. We're checking out the new McLaren GT, so let's go ahead. Alright guys, so the brand new McLaren GT. Now you guys might be wondering, is this just a new addition to the current lineup, or where does this car fall? Well, the GT lineup is actually a whole brand new lineup created by McLaren just for this class. So right now we have the Sport Series, the GT Series, the Super Series, and the Ultimate Series of cars. Currently the GT sits kind of in its own thing, and this car was built to compete with other GT cars such as Aston Martin and things like Bentley, and even kind of go after some of the more GT front engine Ferraris. But of course, being a McLaren, I'm sure many of you heard the ad campaigns for this car where they say making new rules or trying to break the rules. And yeah, I don't see why not. Like, why can't we have a comfortable GT cruiser that has a supercar looks, has an engine that's mid-mounted, and it's kind of not your traditional GT car. While this is a brand new car in the McLaren lineup, its own GT series, obviously with it being McLaren, it does share a lot of similarities with some of its other brothers and sister cars. So the complete underpinnings are similar to that of the 720. The suspension setup is similar, and even the engine is a variant of the engine found in the 720, and it even shares a kind of a reworked monocage for the chassis. So like I just mentioned, it does share a similar engine with the 720S. Of course, the 720S has that 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that makes around 710 horsepower, depending on what numbers you want to believe. And this has the same 4-liter V8, but it has two smaller turbos. So this car is only making about 612 horsepower, so it's not quite as fast as the 720 in the straight line, but those kind of smaller turbos do make for kind of quicker boost at lower RPMs. So if you're just driving around town and want to kind of get that extra jump off the line, this car is definitely going to provide that. And at 612 horsepower, this thing definitely is not a slouch, and you can never call it slow. Now, if you look at the side of the car here, you'll notice that kind of the hips where the air vents are reminiscent to that of the McLaren Senna. Actually, there's one inside the showroom. We'll go check it out afterwards so you guys know what I'm saying. The front end looks very similar to that of the McLaren 570S 600 LT. The vents down below are almost similar to like a 600 LT, almost kind of like a 720S. So you can definitely see kind of it still has a McLaren DNA, even though it is a brand new car within the lineup. Now, I'm sure one of the things you'll notice here, guys, is that the car is sitting quite tall. Now, yes, at this moment in time, I believe that the front end lift is sitting up, but again, with this being kind of a more GT daily driver friendly car, despite the fact that the front end lift is up right now, the car actually does sit a lot higher than any of its other McLaren brothers. So 570, 720, whatever you want to call it, it does sit a lot higher to make it easy for that daily drivability, to get over speed bumps, get it in and out of driveways, and just basically drive everywhere without having to worry about so much about your car scraping the front end like you would if you're driving kind of any other supercar. In terms of the door design, of course, it still has the signature McLaren dihedral doors, but again, you'll notice that unlike some of the other cars, there's like flat doors. There's no crazy active aero going on. Of course, like I said, it does have these big Senna-like vents on the side, and it has coolant that goes right into the back with the engine mounted a lot lower. But they kind of have thought of everything for another person who's daily driving this. Maybe you've never driven a supercar or a McLaren before, so just for a second here, let's pop over to one of the other cars and I'll just kind of show you what I mean with the doors. But with this car, you just kind of come up, there's door handles here, you just push them in and pop the door up. On the McLaren GT we just saw, the door panels are completely flat, there's no crazy active aero, but like I said, it is kind of based off the 720, so they have a 720 sitting here. So just to show you, I'm not going to open the car, guys, it's locked, but if you walk up to this and you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to open the doors, you'll be looking at it going, well, where's the door handle? There's nothing kind of obviously buttoned on the side. And actually, in this car, the door handle is kind of stuck Up underneath, you just kind of feel around there. There's a little button, you push it, and the doors open up. So once again, like I said, with the new GT, it's a bit more accessible, having that easy button on the side that's obviously somewhere to open the doors. Again, making that easier for the daily drivability, maybe for someone who's never driven this kind of a car. You can just easily walk up and know how to get into your car, which for anybody is obviously an added bonus. Getting into some other design features, you'll notice again, this car isn't designed to kind of be crazy fast around the track, although it is a McLaren, so even though it is your GT daily driver, I'm pretty sure it probably could still smoke a lot of things on the track. But as you see, there's no crazy active aero wings, there's no crazy active aero on the side, but the overall design of this is actually a beautiful car. I would argue it's maybe even nicer than some of the other GTs it goes up against. Maybe not the Aston Martins, but either way. There you can see a completely revamped rear end. Kind of low and sleek. The exhaust pipes sit nice and low. This car actually sounds really good. I heard it a couple weeks ago, guys, before I came and saw it here. But yeah, the exhaust sounds really good on this thing. As you can see, a kind of whole new reworked deck lid. The lights built right into the side here. When they light up, they're super cool. They're really thin. The actually back end of this car looks really menacing, also being kind of sleek and elegant. And also, again, there's no crazy active air, but you know it's a McLaren, so this thing is going to cut through the air and be super, super efficient. So one thing you guys probably will notice is that with most of the other McLarens, well, if you come up to the back, it's not the most obvious thing in a McLaren, but you can actually see, for the most part, you can see the engine bay. Well, in this, there's just like a big shelf in the back. Now, once again, because this is a new GT car, daily drivability, this actually is actually technically a hatchback, this car. So the entire hatch lifts up like this, and actually the back of this car is big enough to fit your golf bags, your hockey bag, whatever you want in there. I don't remember the exact amount of space that this car has, but being this is the new GT, this is actually the most spacious McLaren of all. Of course, in the 720S, you kind of had that parcel shelf in the back that allows you to put maybe a couple more duffel bags than you could in anything else. But this has, like I said, this can fit a full set of golf clubs in the back. And of course, you still have the front trunk, so we can fit whatever kind of small bags or anything else you would normally fit in there. Quickly here, I'm about to get the key from one of the sales guys so we can open it up, but I just wanted to talk about some of the options on the car. Now, this one doesn't have it currently. This kind of like the first show car for the dealership, but as with pretty much every other McLaren, if you wanted to, you can. There is a full carbon fiber package. Right now, everything is kind of like the dark black, but you can get the whole rear in carbon fiber. Of course, you can get the carbon fiber mirrors, you can get some more carbon fiber options on the front. I'm not sure if a carbon fiber hood is one of the options, but maybe through MSO, pretty much everything is possible. And I think there's some more carbon options for like one of the door sills and of course on the interior as well. But like I said, guys, in a moment here, I'm going to be getting the key. We can open her up and then we'll kind of jump inside and talk about some more of the inside features. Alright guys, so just to kind of tell you what I was talking about with the McLaren GT, I just popped inside here. They have this Senna in the showroom, and as you can see with kind of those side hip vents, you can see that the McLaren GT isn't quite as aggressive with them as the Senna, given that this is basically the track focused car, but you can kind of see the same little design elements on the hips of the McLaren GT. Like I said, they take it right from the Senna, so once again, like I said, it is kind of a whole new car in the McLaren lineup, but there is different styling cues from a bunch of different cars within the McLaren lineup to kind of all come together to make what is truly, I think, a really epic car. And then once again, another design element that's carried over from other cars to the GT. Like I mentioned, those kind of front vents are very similar to the 720 as we see here. The front vents, and then if we pump over here, kind of, you see the 600 LT, and you can see that kind of front hood and light design is similar on the 600 LT. So again, it's kind of like a dip. Some people might say, oh, McLaren's just dipping into its parts bin to build a whole new car. And well, I don't know, when you make cars like this, I'd say it's a pretty good parts bin to dip in regardless, as well as adding all the new technologies into the car. Alright guys, like I was mentioning before, with kind of the better ease of access to this McLaren. So once again, door handle is obviously visible on the side here, so you just go ahead, kind of push it in gently, lift up on the doors. Once again guys, they open up in their signature McLaren dihedral door style. And then we have the interior. Alright guys, so jumping onto the inside now, you can see that the inside is pretty reminiscent of like the 570 600 LT, kind of with the floating screen there, but some much greater care and detail we're taking in this car, being as it is a new GT. Everything just feels a little bit more luxurious inside of this car, and the seats, while they still look kind of sporty and cool, they're actually super comfortable. And this is, being a GT car, the whole point of this car is that you can take it for that long cruise to wherever you're going. Whereas, not that you couldn't do that in any of the other McLarens, but this is you got to be a lot more comfortable. And the emphasis on this car wasn't so much as having a sporty feel as it was just being kind of like a daily driver, easy grand touring car. Now I'm gonna carefully step inside here for a second. And so one other thing I want to mention, guys, if you've seen my previous videos or you've ever had the opportunity to sit in a McLaren for yourself, you'll notice, you might know that one of the things is, because of the door design and everything, that some of the door sills can be kind of difficult to get into. Well, in this car, I don't know how well you just saw, but I basically just slid into this car, no problem. It feels like getting into a regular car. A lot of people say with cars where the doors go up, you kind of want to go butt first and then swing your legs in. You can do that, but honestly, I just kind of stuck my right foot in and then slid my left in. And you can see the door sill isn't as wide as in other cars, especially in some of the older cars like the 12C or even the 650S. So their ease of getting in and out of the car is a lot better than it is in previous models. So once again, go ahead and close the door here really quickly. Right, I believe this has a McLaren soft close doors. Either way, if you ever had a chance to get in a McLaren, opening and closing the doors are super fun. But yeah, like I said, the interior is pretty much derived from the 570, so not a whole lot different there. The button cluster down here is a little bit, I don't know, it looks a little bit new. You have your standard driving controls here, enter start stop button. We're not going to push that. I don't actually have the key on me right now. But your enter start stop button is there. Your active button is there for your handling and powertrain controls. And actually, one thing you don't see in a lot of other cars, try to get the brightness here, is there's actually two cup holders down here. Hopefully you guys can see it well enough there. So you guys can see there's two cup holders here. Now, they're not the biggest cup holders in the world, but considering, actually there's three cup holders. So there's two down here, there's one up here. So they're not necessarily the biggest cup holders, guys, but just the fact that you get cup holders is kind of standard in a supercar is actually pretty cool. So with this kind of being the brand new car, there are many different interior options. Of course, for options, you can go full McLaren MSO and make the craziest custom interior you can think of. Or if you go in the configurator, I'll throw them up on the screen. I don't remember 100%, guys, but there are kind of three different base options you can choose for. I know one is luxury, I think one is sport, and one's kind of like just a basic interior. I'm not sure exactly what this one is. I think this is the full luxe interior. I know when the guys were speccing it for their demo car, they kind of wanted to put almost every option you can in the car. And one of those options, which I think is really cool, is right above us here. Now, I'm not sure if the camera is going to be doing this any kind of justice, but right now we're looking at the ceiling and the sunroof. Now, this car has a completely glass roof if you get this option, and this actually has the monochromatic roof. Once again, guys, I don't have the keys on me, so I can't actually show you the feature, but there's a little control panel up here with different options. And so right now it's completely frosted over, so it's nice. The sun's not beating down on my head. But if I wanted to open it up, say it's not quite a bright day, or I want to be able to see the sun and make this car feel a lot bigger, there's a little button up here you push, and kind of magically the glass defrosts itself and goes completely clear. And then you can see the whole entire world up above you. So this option is also present in the McLaren 720S Spider. If you get that option, I think it's really cool. Kind of if you want to be able to have a sunroof but not really have it open. Like I said, you can have kind of full privacy, darkness, your head doesn't burn, or you can open it up and see the world all around you. Okay, guys, and as I mentioned before, this car is technically in a hatchback. So hope this works. I'm going to go ahead. There's a little button just to lift the steering wheel here. You push that. Okay, so unfortunately I wasn't able to capture the hatch opening up from inside the car, but it is fully automatic, so you push that button to lift the steering wheel, the hatch automatically opens up, and you can see here, well, hopefully you can tell, there's a lot of space. It opens up nice and high, and you can go in the back here, and like I said, you can fit an entire pack of golf clubs in here. It goes right to the back, and there's even a little space up top for maybe a small duffel bag, whatever you might have as well. Now, one of the new technologies that this car has is in the back here is called the Super Fabric. Of course, if you want to option your car, you can get just straight up leather in the back, but this new Super Fabric is pretty much what it sounds like. It's called Super Fabric. Apparently, it's super durable. It won't rip very easily, so there's no issues if you just kind of throw stuff in the back. You can throw your whatever you want in the back, and you're not gonna ruin it. Of course, the option is a little bit more, but I think if you're going to truly daily drive this car and be throwing stuff in and out, why not get the Super Fabric? You know it's going to hold up. I haven't seen it, but I'm told it's very easy to clean up as well. It feels really cool. There's like these little grooves in it, so it's almost like it has some extra grip. There's some little tabs on the side here so you can strap down some luggage, little cargo hooks and everything. So McLaren, I think, really did think of everything with this car, making it kind of a true GT and a daily driver. But you can still see some like sporty aspects in the back. There's all raw carbon fiber all around, all up and on the deck lid. So while this is a GT car, guys, it is still a McLaren, so you know it's going to have that sporty feel. And another cool thing with this is that I mentioned it was automatic. So once you're done loading, you might have your hand full of something, or you just think, hey, I don't want to waste my time actually manually closing the trunk of my McLaren. There's a little button up here. You go ahead, push it, and then automatically the hatch is going to close itself and lock down, and you're good to go. And then of course, obviously, you can close it manually, but if you're paying the amount of money you're paying for this car, I want a button to close my trunk too. And actually, one thing to note with these cars, because of the way they actuate, they kind of open out and up. Every time you go to open them, you'll see here, if I go to open the car, the window lowers a bit so that when I pop it out, it doesn't hit and break and catch on there. And similarly, when you close the car, we close the door here, you'll see the window automatically raises up so that, especially if it's raining, nothing gets in. And then again, it's just so the window doesn't crack, because it tucks up right underneath this lip here so that no water forms a seal so no water gets in. So that's one cool little detail that many people might not even notice in the car, but McLaren does, obviously, so that you don't crack your windows. Okay, so that's pretty much going to do with our walk around of the McLaren GT. Just a couple of other things to note. So like I said, it has that 4-liter twin turbo, but with it being a GT car, it is a little bit heavier than some of its other family members in the McLaren lineup. So the curb weight is a little bit over 3,200 pounds. So it's a bit of on the heavier side, but once again, 612 horsepower twin turbo V8 engine. It's a bit heavy, but this thing is still going to move. Like I said, this is a whole new lineup for McLaren. The GT kind of stands on its own, and actually, I'm interested to see where they go from this. Right now, they have the GT Coupe. I would assume, given kind of the track record of McLaren, that at some point down the line, we'll see a GT Spider, and then who knows, maybe even more models in that lineup. But yeah, it's not just another like 570 GT, guys, where they just made a 570 with a bit more extra cargo space. It is a whole new lineup, so I absolutely love the thing. I know some people are kind of like iffy on the design, but I think it looks awesome. At the end of the day, it's a McLaren, so you know it's going to perform. It's completely beautiful. Super comfortable seats, I should mention if I didn't mention before. Like I said, other cars are kind of more comfortable, but this kind of feels like a car that you could jump in and drive across the country and have no issues at all. Whereas you probably could in some of the other cars, but after a while, especially if you get like a 600 LT or a Senna with those carbon fiber bucket seats, they are comfortable, but after a little while, you're definitely gonna be feeling it. So other kind of small things of note, I live in Canada, so I know pricing for this car starts at about $250,000 Canadian, and I think that's kind of based on all before options. So if you want, I'll leave a link down below, guys. You can go to the McLaren website. You can kind of spec out your own McLaren GT, find out pricing, contact your dealership. And once again, I want to give a huge shout out to the people here at Pfaff McLaren Toronto. They're always super nice when I come in here and allow me access to the cars and just letting me kind of walk in and film. So to the entire team here at Pfaff McLaren, thank you for always allowing me to come in. I feel my only regret coming here is that I don't have the means to be able to buy one of these cars yet, because I'd love to be able to thank them or kind of reward them for all they've been able to do for me and actually purchasing a car. But one day I'll be back here, I'll be buying my own McLaren. But seriously, if anybody lives in the GTA region, or just anybody lives anywhere at all, you're looking to buy a McLaren, I'll have a link to their website below. Definitely check out Pfaff McLaren Toronto. They are one of the top dealerships, I know, in North America, and I think one of the top in Canada in terms of selling McLarens. And the Pfaff group sells all kinds of other brands of cars. So yeah, if you guys are looking for your next car, whether it be a supercar or just any kind of car, make sure you check out McLaren or check out Pfaff in general. They've always been great to me. They'll be good for you as well. just like that, guys, that's gonna do it, I think, for our little walk around the McLaren GT. I hope it kind of gave you some more insight onto the car. Maybe you learned something that you didn't know before. Maybe, you know, if you watch this video, maybe I touched on something that's gonna maybe help you buy one of the cars. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Bye.
Yeah.